and I'm empty. I am empty. I am empty. Let me be empty. Just wanna be empty. And my mascara smeared round my broken blood vessel eyes, cigarette between Russell signed fingers, throat is raw, jaw sore from throwing up, emotions choking me. Ignore the hunger pains. Just have cans of no sugar Coke with 20 plus laxatives down your throat. Starve yourself. Starve yourself. You deserve to die. Check the mirror 1,000 times a day. Pinch the skin and fat and imagine slicing it the fuck away. Sharp blade. Weigh yourself religiously. Malnourished. Skipped another meal. I'm lying, but Mama knows. Now she's crying. I'm sorry you can't understand. I hate every part of me. Bury me. Maybe once I'm a skeleton, I'll be beautiful. I'm just dying to be thin. Dying to be thin.
Hey all. This video is really hard to make. For those on my social media, those close to me, those who have subscribed to me on YouTube, know that recently I went back into hospital, so private hospital for mental health, in particular my complex PTSD. I've noticed a lot of comments on my social media where I think people have just kind of assumed that I've come home early because I'm doing really, really well, when that's not the case at all. There's actually quite a long story behind that. I've always been really honest about my life, my trauma, my sorry, you'll have to forgive me, this is just really hard. I've always believed in being honest about my agony and pain and suffering, just in hopes that if the scars and wounds I bear internally can somehow help someone and make even one person feel less alone, then it's worth it. My pain's worth it. You can't have roses without thorns. And if I had to go through the horrendous trauma I've been through just to be able to help just one person, then to me it was worth it. I'd gotten a lot of comments on social media I guess just a lot of people messaging me and assuming I'm okay. They're just like, oh, it looks like you're home, looks like you're doing really well. There's a whole story. And I'm still kind of processing everything that's happened. But the honest me, the one who wants to constantly spread awareness and help others, needed to tell this story. But what really pushed me to do this is the fact that it's National Eating Disorder Awareness Week, which connects directly with this story. I'm gonna do a big trigger warning here, and please hear me. Please stop watching if this is gonna be too much of a trigger for you. You know, I'm only spreading love and support here and telling my story, and if it helps someone else, like, I'm so gracious to God that somehow through my pain I can help other people. But please hear these trigger warnings, and if you feel that this is going to be too much for you and it may set you off in some sort of negative way, then that is totally fine. That is totally fine. You can always contact me somehow if you just want to check in and get some form of brief on what's happened, and why I'm home so suddenly. But okay, there we go. Okay, trigger warning. Talk of eating disorder, talk of eating disorder behaviors, talk of a psychiatrist who made multiple inappropriate and triggering comments in regards to eating disorders and my personal eating disorder. Mention briefly of weight and weight loss, so numbers. I'll also mention, and I'm unsure yet how detailed I'll go into this, but trigger warning for a suicide attempt. Like I said, I'm unsure as to how detailed I'll go into it, but it's something I need to set a serious trigger warning about. Yeah. I'm gonna start this video by playing a recording of a conversation I had with one of my dearest friends on this planet, who I absolutely love to death, where I explained to this person what I was going through. So I think I'll start with playing that and then maybe make some comments afterwards. I'll see how I go, to be honest. But yeah, here we go. We can listen together.
This is a recording I sent to an incredible close friend of mine who I'm beyond grateful to. And you can hear in my voice the damage I did to my throat with how I attempted suicide. But you can also hear how I think my constant kind heart just wanted to make sure my friend was okay as well, despite what had happened to me. Babe, it's got nothing to do with you. Like, don't feel bad at all. You were busy and you had a bad day yesterday. What was going on? What was happening yesterday? Why was it so bad, darling? Like, what I did's got nothing to do with you. Like, don't stress about that. Are you okay? So this next part is me explaining to my friend what happened and why I did what I did.
So quick. Like, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I'd known for days, but I managed to make it through my last really severe suicidal thoughts that I already told you about. And so I didn't do it. And then last night I just snapped. Sorry, I'm just trying to find my words. Like, I'm hiding, like, under shelter while it's raining, trying to have a smoke, and my thinking's not the best right now.
When I sent this message, I was right opposite the public hospital I ended up in. Like I said, hiding under shelter because it was raining pretty hard. Waiting for someone close to me to come and pick me up. And yeah, I was just, I guess, under this shelter, like having a smoke, trying to explain everything that had led me to end up in hospital, like a public hospital, for attempting suicide in the first place.
My psychiatrist keeps making really inappropriate comments about my eating disorder. So like saying, like they kept threatening to send me tubed and shit. And so I kept getting scared. So I said to him, I'm like, at what? Because you said if I lost weight, you were sending, and like, so when would you send? You're at a healthy BMI right now. So if you kept losing weight and I've lost 3.5 kilos since being here.
I had lost 3.5 kilos in less than 2 weeks. That's not fucking healthy. There was at least 3 days I didn't eat at all due to the stress of this clinic. Pretty much target on my back, harassment and abuse from the nurses. I'll get on to the whole fucking story of the manager later, potentially. But I'd gone in there for PTSD. My eating disorder was really bad as well. It was a real toss-up. When I sent referrals to hospitals, and I'm not going to mention where I was, I'm not going to mention the other places I sent referrals to for my own legal safety, but it was a toss-up between whether we should tackle my eating disorder first or my complex PTSD, which is actually the core of my eating disorder. So, yeah.
And like, so when would you send? You're at a healthy BMI right now, so if you kept losing weight and then we'd send you, but like, you know, if you stop losing weight and you stop purging, I've only purged 3 times since being up here, then we wouldn't send you.
So at this point, like I said, I'd been threatened 3 times with being sent to an eating disorder clinic, pretty much told if I lost any weight from the beginning weight of when I got there, that they would instantly transfer me to an eating disorder ward. And in less than 2 weeks, I'd lost 3.5 kilos due to stress and not eating for at least 3 days. And then I was actually put on a food chart, which I'll give them credit for that. They're a mental health hospital, not an eating disorder ward whatsoever. So I was surprised. My mum was actually quite happy about that, where they just wrote down what I ate and they monitored that. And that wasn't too big of a deal for me. I didn't mind. They were like, we'll just weigh you once a week. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. You know, sometimes I'd eat right in front of the counter to make sure they believed that I was eating, because I wasn't lying about anything. I wasn't hiding food. I wasn't throwing out food. I'd come up and show them exactly how much I'd eaten. I was also eating with friends who supported me, we'd often eat outside so that I could have a smoke, kind of distract myself and not have any urges to purge. I, by diagnosis, have anorexia. I don't look like it, do I? But I do. Want to call it atypical because I'm not underweight? Go ahead, but that's a longer conversation, and believe me, I get into that. But I am diagnosed with anorexia. Like I said, if you want to call it atypical because I'm not underweight, go ahead. Because I have avoidance and restrictive disorder and I purge. So I do not fit into the category of bulimia, which I was originally misdiagnosed with. So, yeah. I will say this, because I was losing weight in the first week, they actually changed the food chart. So I had the manager come to me, I'd love to name and shame, but I can't. So, maybe we should just call him like Heartless Prick. So this Heartless Prick, who happened to be the manager, who I actually don't know or think he has a degree in mental health or anything whatsoever. I think he just runs the joint. Pretty much came to me and said, look, you're losing weight too quick. This was within the first week. We need you to come to the nurses at breakfast, lunch and dinner. Tell them that you're going down to the dining room. You have to sit at this particular table right in front of a camera that will watch you eat. And we can literally zoom in and look at exactly how many fucking peas are on your plate. They were the manager's words. Word for word. Minus the swearing. I might have added the swearing. But for someone with an eating disorder, for starters, I'd originally been eating outside with my friends so I could have a smoke, avoid being alone, not be in my room, so I had no temptation to purge. And then all of a sudden they're like, nah, you've got to go in the dining room, which was instantly a trigger for me and instantly set my anxiety off. Because I was like, I don't want to be around a lot of people when I'm eating. And then I've got this prick telling me that this camera is literally going to be staring at me. Someone's going to be watching me on a video screen, literally zooming the fuck in, watching everything I eat. Now, I'll tell you this. That was a scare tactic, because whenever I reported to the nurses, like when I came back from eating after I'd had my smoke after eating, which is for me a avoidance technique so I don't feel the urge to purge. Pulled and I didn't know it. But at least two of the nurses who were on different days said the same thing. They said, what did you eat today and how much? And because I had to eat breakfast, lunch and dinner. They didn't give a fuck how much. And I'll tell you this, I wasn't eating a lot, but it was more than I was eating at home. But due to the stress of the hospital, the nurses, the management and my psychiatrist, I was still losing weight. And mind you also, the smoking area was quite a distant walk. And they were kind of like, why are you losing weight? And I'm like, well, I've got to walk this far multiple times a day just to have a smoke. And I'm getting harassment and pretty much bullying and abuse from the nurses every day. as well as threats that I'm being sent to an eating disorder ward, which I'll explain this. The way I separate my brain is almost like split personality. So there's Zanita, who actually wants to get better, wants to get healthier, who wants to be healthy enough one day to have children. I have been told by my eating disorder therapist, with my history of miscarriages, with my reproductive issues, that if I don't sort out my eating disorder ASAP, I will probably not be able to have kids at all. So there's that big chunk of me that wants to get better. But, and I explained this to the beautiful psychologist at this clinic, I'll give her credit as one of the few things I actually loved about this hospital. And that is the fact that I explained to her that it's like my PTSD, my complex PTSD, feeds into my eating disorder. And she was like, it also seems like your shame from all the trauma has fed into your eating disorder. She's like, you're almost in a losing battle where it's 1 against 3. And I was just like I walked out of that appointment smiling ear to ear, because I was like, somebody has heard me and understood what I'm saying. If you've never experienced an eating disorder, I am beyond, like, I can't even express, like, thank the Lord you have never experienced this. I'll tell you this. I'm going to get a bit vulgar for a second, just so you understand how severe my eating disorder demon voice is in my head. Okay, so what I might say might trigger someone. I'm just telling you now, this is what it sounds like in my head all the fucking time. So my eating disorder loves to use my abuse and my trauma against me as reasons to starve myself or purge or over-exercise, etc., etc. So my eating disorder screams at me nearly 24/7. Nearly 24/7. And it's agonizing. And the only way to shut her the fuck up is to do what she says. So, like I said, she loves to use my trauma against me. So she will be like, and this is horrendous, and this is what I live with every day. She'll be like, your abusive ex should have fucking strangled you to death. You are worthless. You are nothing. You deserve to fucking die. You should have fucking died. You don't deserve to live. You should fucking starve yourself for days because you don't deserve to eat. You're a worthless human being. You mean nothing to no one. The world would be better off without you. You deserve to be raped. You deserve to be punched. You deserved... She will take every bit of my trauma and use it against me as reasons to persuade me to do what she wants. And I wouldn't fucking wish it on anyone. I really wouldn't. Feel like my head's kind of going all over the place, so I do apologize for that. I do. There's just a lot going through my head right now. I am grateful for that psychologist understanding what I was going through and am going through. I appreciate that. I'm heartbroken I didn't get to see her more than once due to what I'll explain that occurred.